Hello, everybody. Hello. It is I, the Worm, and I'm here. I'm ready. I'm ready to. Oh, what sort of dramatic things can I say? To take back control of our fate, to save the day and get the girl and whatever else we're gonna be doing here. Because now we are heading straight back into the raging loop. But we're going to have a game plan now, hopefully, at least. Haruaki has, through his time loop shenanigans, I suppose, managed to get back to the exact same point that he left off previously, before, or the night before, the, the night before Kaori was killed, and when Haruaki basically revealed who the wolves were. So we're back to that point. Which, going back to, I think I talked about this last episode, I'm not sure that even makes sense, considering the loop, because so far, every time he's looped, like a full-on loop, not just a bad end, I mean full-on loop, because, the Ryomi route we did, just to illustrate my point, we did the Yomi route, and that's, what words can I use here? That's canon. It's canon, so to speak, that he went through this route before doing this route, right? So having this key here means it's canon that he went through here and got that end, right? So he has the foreknowledge of Mochi and Chiemi being the wolves. And yet, wouldn't by the rules of the Raging Loop, or at least by the Feast, if he started again, wouldn't the rolls have to be randomized again? Well, regardless, let's not think too hard about that, unless there's an answer. I don't know, but in any case, we're back on the same route we were, and gotten back to the same point in that route, but now we know what's going to happen. So, presumably, we are in the middle of a discussion with Rikako. We are hopefully going to team up with her because she is the MVP, and somehow come up with a plan to prevent Mochi and Chiemi from killing everyone with shotguns, because that's what happened last time, and I'm not entirely sure how we do that. So, because presumably the wolves brought those guns with them from the outset, so they must have them from the beginning. We gotta, I don't know how we either have to prevent that, or we have to have some sort of plan to deal with that when it happens. So let's find out. Let's stop messing around here and get into it. Open the door and persuade. I suddenly opened the door. Yeah, I did. Of course I would. I didn't want to see that ending again. Rikako-san was crying. Her voice had been clear and composed, so I'd assumed that she wasn't feeling anything. I was wrong. She was merely hiding it.
とは開けない約束でしょ。
約束をした時点では守るつもりでしたが、あなたたちが約束を立てに、僕を好き放題悪者にするからあえて破りました。何なんですかその、見苦しい過去設定を並び立てれば、無事嫌われて円満破局みたいな空気感は、藤吉イズムですか？
Fujiyoshi ism.
ぶっちゃけ、ちえみちゃん程度の面倒さの子はいくらでも転がしてきましたから、状況がこうでなきゃ発奮するだけですし、リカ子さんみたいなレアキャラは超絶美味しいとしか思えない程度には人間腐ってるんで、諦めてほしいですね。
Crap, I overdid it a bit.
まああなたがどう思うかは知りませんが、僕は今の話であなたをより信頼しましたし、好きになりました。 ちえみちゃんにもそう言ってあげたいところですが、それはあなたへの定説にもとりますから、別の手を打ちましょう。明日謎理論でしっかり丸め込んで、僕の友人を紹介しましょう。僕より少し頭が腐った変態野郎ですが、気は合いそ
Friend of yours?
う。いや待てよ、先生の方がいいかな。もしちえみちゃんがちょいピザ丸ハゲでも気にしないなら、超絶尽くす彼の方が。
春秋様、なんだかよくわからないのですが、なぜこの流れで私を好きなどと。
言ったでしょ。僕はルールは自分で決めたいんですよ。
感情だって他人にルールされたくないですから。みんなが嫌いなものでもその気になれば喜んでいただきますとも。だから僕に嫌われたければ方法を改めてください。あなたから好きだって言ったんですからね。覚悟はしてもらいましょ
う。バーカバーカ、リカ子さんのアホ。死んでる？
Ah, she finally broke.
何ですか、いきなり。あなたはバカですか？
いや全く。何なんでしょうね。
こっちが聞いてます。
Anyway, enough with the personal grudges.
賭けはまだ有効ってことにしませんか？
The one where we'd win if we survived and could ask the other for whatever we wanted.
生き残った時好きなように望めばいいんですから。僕はそれを打ち消すような望みは言わないですよ。
あなたは本当に不思議な人です。多分きっと芹沢様の言う通り、とても悪い方なのでしょう。
I didn't confirm nor deny that.
それでもそう言っていただけて嬉しかった。それだけで私はもう十分です。
Not good enough. Well, maybe. Adult love wasn't solid enough to play out through just jokes and improvisation. Then again, we adults could survive without needing anything fancy. It was a virtue, as well as a vice.
明日生き残った時答えをください。あなたは今晩狼に殺されるかもしれない。僕とメイコを守るために自ら正体を明かす賭けをしたから。もしあなたが明日目覚めてこなかったら、僕は結局あなたにこんなことを望む資格なんてなかったと引き下がります。
春秋様。
There. I was now at a key point. This tragedy-drunk heroine wouldn't die today. It would be the most unfortunate Kaori-san. Honestly, I wasn't sure how to feel about that. But I would test it, this once.
せめて最後にお慈悲をいただけないでしょうか。
ダメです。僕はそれだけを生きがいにこの夜を越えるんですから。
不謹慎ですが嬉しいです。
I was the imprudent one here. After all, I was making moves on a girl that could die tonight.
それではさようなら。
あ、待った。
まだ何か？
I could finally get to the main matter at hand.
野蛮としての植松里香子さんに一つ協力してほしいことがあります。
Oh, and of course, we don't get to hear the plan. But that's probably good. In this is the meta reasoning here. I think my understanding of it. I'm not sure if there's a word for this or maybe there's a trope for this. But my understanding is that in stories, say you're writing about a story about a bank heist or something, if you have the bank robbers talk about the plan and you as the reader or watcher, whatever, it's a TV show, story, whatever, and they tell you the plan before actually doing it, that means the plan's going to fail. But if they don't say the plan, like they get together and seem to be about to talk about what their plan is, but then they don't tell you because they want it to be a surprise, they want you to be surprised and amazed by their cunning or ingenuity, whatever. And so they actually wait till the actual robbery to show you what they came up with. So hopefully that's what's going on here, where we don't get to hear what Haruaki's asking here. But that must mean, or that might mean, I should say, that whatever he's planning will probably work. That's my understanding anyway. Could be wrong. It's not like every written work has to follow the same rules every time, but that's my intuition here. So that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping Haruaki has a good plan here that we're just not privy to. It was the day after I did the prep work. Okay, yeah, so he definitely did something. I approached the plaza, met up with Yoshitsugu-kun, acted surprised when I heard the bad news, and once again saw the remains of poor, unfortunate Kaori-san. Yep, so it's all the same. I then listened to the brothers opening up, saw them find the letter, noticed that the fingers were placed in the same position as last time. This had to be Chami's idea. In this particular timeline, she didn't seem to be anything more than a bloodthirsty madwoman. I felt like she'd been the one who decided that destroying the entire body was the way to go. And Mochi didn't hesitate to agree. Yeah, so same sort of idea that I had. I'd badly underestimated just how warped that boy's personality was. Poor mommy. Yes, I had the same idea too. This is just sort of repeating what I said last time, but she's an outsider, she loses her partner, and now her teammates, essentially, thinking of it like a game, are two crazy people. And so it's just, ugh. I knew she was an enemy, but I couldn't help but feel sympathy for her. Yep. Thus began the Feast of the Yomi Purge. How are we going to play this? Alright. Yasunaga-kun presented the scenario set up by the wolves. I turned it around. Everything was about the same as last time. If I didn't change my words, things would go exactly the same way as last time. Of course they would. The people I was talking to were the exact same. Strangely enough, I also said the exact same things without relying much on memories from last time. Or maybe it wasn't that strange. After all, though I had memories of the previous loop, I was the exact same person. If I'd somehow lost the memories of the final moments of the last loop, I'd definitely be headed for the same ending right now. But in that case, it didn't matter if everything was the same this time. I could just go with the flow and do the same thing as last time. After all, it was already over.
そういう賭けだったんじゃないですかね。残念ながら負けですが。
Wow, so he's going right up to to the point of no return right here, so what's different?
ね
Presumably, Rikako's in on it, right? She has to be. Just like the last time, everyone focused on Chikamochi, who had a half smile on his face.
やっぱそれ一方的じゃないかな。ハッサンやりっちゃんが本物だってのも決まってないわけだしさ。
And just like last time, he was bringing up arguments that had already been shot down.
それに香りママの指だってまだああやって読むのが正しいのかも。
もっち
Ooh, here we go. And just like last time, Chiemi...
もういいよ苦しいよさすがに
じゃあ
うんやるとしようよ
They went and did it. They drew the guns from their sleeves. I've been wondering why Mochi was in his school uniform this... Oh, yeah. Didn't even make the connection. I've been wondering why Mochi was in his school uniform this time, and this made me realize it was to hide the gun. The barrels and grips on them both were cut really short, probably for the same purpose. One of them was aimed in our direction, while the other was aimed at Kanzo-san, who was already charging at them. Their intents change... They have to have sabotaged the guns or something, right? Somehow? Okay. Their intense change paralyzed everyone except him and Takumi-san, who would now make a move and die to the shotgun blasts. However, that didn't happen this time. Ah, yes, there we go. The guns didn't fire anything. A moment after Chiemi's expression warped with shock, Kanzo punched Mochi, while Takumi-san tackled Chiemi. Yes. Sometimes it's the simplest thing, you know? Her lightweight body was thrown backward and hit the wall. Takumi-san grabbed the shotgun, aimed it at the floor, and pulled the trigger to ignite the shell in the other chamber. Once again, the gun didn't fire. He frowned, then opened it up, removed the cartridges, and threw them away along with the gun. Kanzo-san handled his situation a different way. He simply pointed Mochi's gun back at its former master.
てめえが狼か、近持ち。
His face was swollen to the punch. He was crouching down and glaring at Kanzo-san.
誰か縄持ってこい。
離せ離せなんで畜生
Takumi-san took advantage of her staggering and pushed her down. She couldn't move at all. Things became a bit disorderly as we tied them up, but now it was relatively calm in here. Nice work, guys.
一体どういうこった。
Those words weren't directed at anyone, but everyone besides me related to him.
こいつはダミーだ。
Kanzo-san said that while looking at the shells from the shotgun he'd taken from Mochi. Everyone understood what that meant.
間違えたんか。
そんなバカな
Exactly. There was no way the cartridges she'd checked just yesterday were switched up in a single evening. The only one with any idea what was responsible for this paranormal phenomenon was Rikako-san. Last night, I'd asked her to catch Chiemi and have a cat fight with her. That gave me the time I needed to go into Chiemi's room and mess with her equipment. So did he know the guns were there, or did he just assume that's where they'd be? That's a bit of a gamble there, depending on how much time we had left at that night. Yes. A lot of it depended on luck, and I needed a couple loops. Interesting. So there are loops that we do not see. I'm not sure if that was ever stated before, or maybe that was obvious, but... Okay. Interesting. but somehow I pulled it off. It wasn't fair in the least, but my life was at risk here, and I actually died, so I really didn't care. Everyone continued to talk about how the shells were replaced, but since I decided to stay quiet, they didn't reach a conclusion. Now, everyone was left with the harsh truth that these two were wolves who just tried to kill everyone here. Thus, everyone began talking about how to handle them. Yasunaga-kun suggested we tie them up and lock them somewhere. He argued that, now that we knew they were the wolves, all we had to do was prevent any further murders from... All we had to do to prevent any further murders was to make them unable to move. Kanzo-san was thoroughly against that, suggesting that instead we hang them over today and tomorrow. We asked for his reasoning. He insisted that the wolves had to be hanged, and their argument wasn't going anywhere. Most of Kanzo-san's decisions were influenced by the legend and his own experience, so he didn't have a proper way to deal with a situation this unorthodox. Yasunaga-kun, on the other hand, was bound by conscience and emotions, making Kanzo-san's option unacceptable for him. That left me no choice but to weigh in.
ちょっとよろしいですか?
Now everyone, even Kanzo-san, lended an ear to my words. It took too long for me to get to this point.
牧島さんとしては、とにかく一日一冊のペースを守ることが大事だと思っておいでなんですよね。
Considering that we know that the corruption is a very real and dangerous phenomenon, I'm willing to lend an ear to this. You know, kill only one per day.
一方で安永君は正直、ちえみちゃんやモッチーを殺したくない。
The problem is, how do we end this whole mist situation? Because we know we can't leave the village. We're obviously trapped. How do we... If we just tie them up, then are we just going to be stuck in this mist forever then? What's the... We need to get to an end state somehow.
そうですね。認めます。ただ、怪奇現象の範囲外で犯人が見つかった以上、法的な解決を目指すべきだと思うわけです。
Okay, but how do we do that, Yasunaga? How do we do that? How do we get the law here? I'm a bit worried that his, we know his feelings toward Chemi. I'm worried that that's clouding his head a bit.
彼らがやったことは許されることじゃないけど、それを僕らが裁いていいわけじゃない。これまではあくまで緊急避難。
Plus it's also Mochi. I mean, this is crazy, He lost Haru, he lost his mother, and now, if we continue to go through with this, he's going to lose his last only other friend and Chemi. Even if they're crazy murderers, I feel like there's only so much tragedy you could take until, a breaking point. And maybe Yasunaga is getting to that point.
彼らが身動き取れなければ危険はないのだから、そのようにして、あとは霧が晴れるのを待つ。
Are we certain that will happen?
晴れなければ、そこで改めて再度の緊急避難が必要という判断を下せばいいんです。
The boy was talking sense, but...
まず、お二人とも拘束が有効という点に少々認識の問題があると思います。
Yeah, they're both crazy, and, Mochi's smart. They're both crazy. Mochi's cunning, and Chemi is... She's a level above crazy. She's utterly murderous, so... This is a fair thing to say.
というと、
このゲームの支配者、神内明神は玄関の錠前を解除できます。
Oh, this too, I suppose.
とすれば、どんな拘束も解除できると考えるのが妥当じゃないでしょうか。
That is a very frightening thought.
それは。
そして、今日と明日に分けてくくる場合、今夜一人分、死人が出ます。
I've been thinking about that too. Yeah, because we only get to hang one a day, so it could be we get one more human who dies. That sucks.
狼に勝ち目はありませんが、きっと殺すでしょ
そんなことはしないよ。
そうだね。無駄だし。
They were so easy to read.
う。僕は、彼らは殺すと断言しますが、その根拠はね、安永くん。
はい。聞きましょ
彼らが、とても冷酷な狼だからだ。
I walked up to them.
間宮久子さんのことを思い出してください。彼女は2日目に突然蛇を名乗り、
Yeah.
冷静でない様子で振る舞いましたね。
So they forced her. Rather than it being like a strategy meeting and they decided together, did they force her?
それはきっと、芹沢千恵美の指示です。
There was some noise in the room. Chemi was still hanging her head.
おそらく、蛇を名乗れば安全だ、などと言いくるめたのでしょう。
So deceived.
肝臓さんが、蛇の候補もくくるべきだと発言するだろうことも、承知の上でね。事実それで、タエさんという無実の犠牲者を作ることに成功している。そうだね、千恵美ちゃん。
勝手に思ってれば。
そしてその夜、間宮さんは不可解な死を遂げるわけですが、それもきっとこいつの仕業です。
Very interested to hear this.
なんで？
そりゃ、彼女がよそ者だからだよ。信頼できないし、いざという時裏切る可能性が高い。具体的に言えば、彼女は翌朝くくられる公算がかなり高かった。肝臓さんがそう主張していましたからね。同意のないままにおとりをやらされた間宮さんは、相当な不信感と恐怖感を、この二人に対して持っていたでしょうね。そんな彼女ならば、くくられるに際して、他の狼の正体をばらして、道連れにしてもおかしくはない。そう考えたから、夜のうちに彼女を殺して口封じをしたんだ。
So it wasn't a corruption kill? Chiemi killed her? Wouldn't that be against the rules? That'd be 2 kills in one night.
しかし、
Yeah.
それじゃあ一晩に一人以上殺してることになる。
Unless Chiemi did something where, it's like that thing. We've talked about this before in the last main route, but basically you trick the context we talked about it previously was the wolves tricking a human into breaking the rules. Did Chiemi trick Mamiya into breaking the rules?
ならないね。彼女は汚れを受けて殺されたんだ。狼にも何らかのルールがあって、彼女はそれに違反した。
We talked a bit about this in the comments last episode. We've been theorizing a bit on the what Chiemi's pendant might mean. And so this is the word I used last time, spitballing. It's still in the spitballing stage, I'd say. But the idea could be, we need something extra to convert people into wolves, because it can't just be the story. We've already covered that. We know that to be the case. So the idea is maybe these pendants somehow convince or turn people to do this. So maybe, I think the idea we came up with was something like, if the wolves take off their pendants or something, But who knows? Who knows at this point?
いや、違反させられた。この二人によって。
全部推測じゃん。
もう何でもいいよ。
だから否定してくれって言ってるだろ二人とも。
面倒だから言うわ。うん、全部そう。春明さんすごいすごい。ヤス君は思ったより脳みそ幸せな人だったんだね。
Oof.
知恵ね。
まあ私らにも色々あって、最後まであがかないといけないことになってるからさ。もう質問とかやめてよ。面倒。
知恵見てめえ。
やめてください。気持ちはわかりますが、時間の無駄です。狼をやった人間とは、もう、分かり合うことはできないんですよ。
Yeah, there's there's something that twists them. So, maybe Chemi was psychopathic or murderous in the beginning, but you know, becoming a wolf just amplified it or something, you know? It's hard to say.
じゃがどうする？
というわけで、僕の提案ですが、片方は手足を切断し、片方はくくりましょう。
Oh. Whew. Well, sorry. It's like I slammed into a brick wall there. My goodness. Yeah. Well, I guess Stone Cold Haruaki is... He's really done playing around. And to be fair, as someone who's had to, you know, die multiple times to get here, and have been confronted with their cruelty multiple times, I guess I can see... I could understand how he got to this point, as terrible as it is. Wow. Okay. Let's hear their reactions.
そうすれば今夜、拘束がなくても出歩けないでしょうから、安全そうです。それでもう一人を明日くくれば、狼は全滅。きっと翌日には霧も晴れ。
おい、不妻子。
はい？
お前、今なんつった？
ですから、拘束がなくても出歩けないし、凶器も持てないように、手足を切断するのがいいでしょうと。
Huh? What the hell was their reaction?
何か問題がありましたか？
Yeah, he's running into that looper problem where he's kind of become a bit... jaded is not even the right word, I think. I mean, I think if you become a looper, I mean, you'll eventually be driven insane. Eventually, that's just probably what's going to happen, right? So honestly, yeah, Haruaki's probably a little insane right now. You know. So the fact that he can't even understand that people would be weirded out or upset with what he just said, yeah. Ooh.
お前、本気で近持ちかちえみの手足をもぐって言ってんのか？
はい。それじゃあ不足ですかね。大腿部と肩で切ってしまえば、さすがに這って移動もできないかと。
てめえ、やっぱイカれてるよ。
Huh?
それは残酷すぎますよ。
Huh?
相手が狼とはいえ、それはそこまでは。
Okay, hang on. To be fair, guys, consider what they did to Haru and what they did to Kaori. All right? These are not the people you knew. I mean, yes, it is absolutely terrible. I'm probably a bit in, because I'm playing the game, you know, I'm probably a bit in the looper perspective too, so I'm probably just biased towards Haruaki, but Okay, no, this is still understandable. Their immediate shock to what he's saying. Okay, this is still understandable, but what?
ふさゆきさん、怖い。
Yes, absolutely. Yep. Why?
リカ子さん、狼の獅子を切断することは汚れの対象ですか？
それは聞きませんが。
皆さん、これまでに歴史と伝統にのっとって生きてる人間を縄にかけて処刑してきましたよね。
Ooh. Hit him with it.
ですが、しかし、
くくって楽にしてやっておる。
Yeah, they don't really see that as something exceptionally cruel. Yeah.
考察はかなり苦しみの強い残酷な処刑方法だって説もありますよ。そうでなくても、多数決で人を処刑するなんて、やられる側からすれば、この上ない絶望と恐怖だと思いますし。それに、狼は、あんな残酷な殺し方をしてるのに。皆さんは、随分、良識的なんですね。いや、それはいいことなのかな。人間らしさ？ああ、なるほど。
They all fell silent. But even I could understand that there was something within them that made them averse to my idea.
じゃあ、四肢を骨折させましょうか。粉砕骨折させれば効果は一緒ですから。あるいは明日くらいにちょうど死ぬ程度に野里先生に毒を処方してもらうとか。
いい加減にしたまえ。そんな乱雑な処置で命の保証はできん。痛みのショックで死ぬこともあるぞ。それに医者の端くれとして毒など処方できるか。我々は狼とは違うのだよ。
なるほど。なるほど。わかりました。ちょっといろいろ誤解してたみたいです。じゃあ、どうしましょうね。今日誰かが死んじゃいますね。
This was such a pain. Why did they argue against my suggestion if they had none of their own?
どうしても必要なら私がすべきことをします。
いや、わしがやる。
じじいと女が無理してんじゃねえ。
僕らはそんなことしちゃいけない。
ああ、やめろ。まだ考える時間はある。
わかった。もういい。私、今から死ぬからさ。その前に、モッチくくれば。それで誰も、汚れはなしでしょ。
わお、最後まで冴えてんね。
Clear-headed? That's what you'd call that, Mochi?
え？今度は何を企んでるの？
手足をもがれるのは嫌だよ。
Okay. I mean, fair enough. Fair enough. Totally understood. But it's a little rich to hear from someone who did that to Haru in Kaori. Huh. Even wolves were afraid of some things.
そんじゃま、あっちでハルちゃんには謝っとくよ。
お前はハルちゃんと同じところには行けないよ。
どっかな、りっちゃん。
くくった方は救われる。狼に殺されれば救われない。
Huh.
逆にする？もっち。
どっちでもいいよ。
いい。どうせ死んだら終わりだ。それなら僕がお前を殺す。どうしてこんな。
どうしても？
なんだよそれ。
よくはわかんないんだけどね。なんとなくどうしようもなかった気がするんだよね。
Felt like you had no choice. Yasunaga Oribe. punched Chikamochi Kamoshida.
ごめんね、やっすん。それだけは本当だ。ごめんね。
落ちなかれ。
Yasunaga-kun pushed him forward. A moment later, the rope went taut. It shook for a moment, then slowly swayed back and forth, and finally stopped completely. Yasunaga-kun cut the rope. From the mists below, I heard the sound of something soft collapsing, and then hitting the shallow water below.
次だ。ちえみ。
はいはい。
これでは間接的に我々が殺しているようなものではないかね。
さあ、新内さんとやらが判断するんじゃないですか。
お前、そうやってそのまま死ぬつもりか、ちえみ。一言も謝りもしねえでよ。
うん。だってそういうやつだし、私。みんな知ってたでしょ。私が上藤吉の悪ガキどもを殺しかけた時にそういう人間だってさ。まあその後できるだけ良い子のふりしてたけどさ、まんまと騙されてお疲れ。モッチーはああいう性格なのを私が操縦していろいろやってもらった感があるし、怒んないであげて。私が全部悪いで問題ないよ。だから好きに憎んで、みんな。
Looking backwards, she stepped up to the cliff.
リカ子さんおめでとう。障害を乗り越えて無事なんとかなりそうじゃん。
読み意味の宴はそういうものではありません。山と共に生きる我らが負った業を未来永劫背負い供養し続ける。私はその業を引き取るだけ。
じゃあまた生まれ変わったら今度こそ殺しに行くから。雲の末裔だかなんだか知らないけど、ご大層な教えを語り継ぐための子孫でも作って待ってれば。
そのように悪ぶらずとも。
うるさいな、今から殺すぞ。嘘嘘。じゃあね。
ちえみ、
何？
神様って何？
Ooh. Her pupils instantly shrunk.
やっぱり一番怖いのはあなただよ、春秋さん。
Not entirely inaccurate, actually.
よかった。ありがとう。みんなありがとう。自殺させてくれて。
She took 3 steps back.
手足もがれるかもって思った時、本当心底怖かったよ。本当に怖かったよ。春秋さん、一緒に狼だったらよかったのに。
That's a very scary thought.
僕はごめんだよ。
またね。
She turned around and ran, as fast as possible, into the mist, and jumped. Rise not.
帰ってますね。
I alone turned around.
まだ、お前。
I didn't want to hear it. She'd probably fallen into a world different from ours. And I got the impression I wouldn't hear a sound. I didn't want to listen to the echoing silence. Oh, I don't even know how much time has passed. About 45 minutes. let's actually call it here today before moving on. Next time we'll deal with the aftermath. Oh boy, man. Well, I'm not sure I expected this whole situation to wrap up as quickly as it did. But I gotta say, Haruaki's suggestion was just so... That was such a visceral moment. That was probably the most... That one moment made me feel more than I think anything else in the game so far. And the game's been very... That's not to the game's detriment. I've been feeling a lot throughout this game. I'm really enjoying Raging Loop. I don't know if you can tell. I've really been enjoying my time with it. But that scene right there, that was a lot. And I mean, it's we've talked about. It's the looper mentality. That's where you eventually end up, you know. And that was such a clear, you know, visualization of that right there. And the way Haruaki seems to be becoming the monster to the monsters, you know. Now, I don't know how long this route has left, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be another main route after this. I think, based on what I'm going with is this here. Yomi's was the first main route. Wit is the main route we're on now, and then we have this other branch here, right? So I'm thinking there's at least another main branch. I think, maybe. I don't know. I mean, it does look like we're probably going to be... We've won. The humans have won, which is crazy to think about. So I'm not sure exactly what happens to... Well, I can make a guess. I mean, we've won the game, but we've not really got any answers on any of the supernatural stuff, like the mist or Shinai-sama or the god, the quote-unquote god that is haunting Haru and Chiemi, and maybe the involvement of the Fujiyoshi, Kame Fujiyoshi families. There's still a lot to cover, so I could totally understand if there was a third main route to go on here. Now, if there's another main route, presumably there'll be another game, right? Here's what I'm worried about. What Haru just said at the end there. No, Haru. What Chiemi said at the end there. I'm worried about what a wolf Haruaki would look like. That is very frightening, especially now that he's kind of, you know, transformed into this kind of person. I'm also worried about the possibility of Rokako becoming a wolf. That would vary. You know, Rokako, we've kind of gotten a bit. You know, this was really her route in a sense. If Chiemi was, you know, the main character, or the other main character of the first route, Rokako was really, you know, she was really in focus this route here. So I guess if Rokako does become a wolf in another route, that would, I think, allow us to understand more about what it means to be a wolf, because we've kind of got her motivations, we've got such a better understanding of her now that we would, I feel like if we found out what she was like as a wolf, that would clear up, I think, a few things on what that actually means. Of course, Haruaki becoming a wolf would serve the same purpose. We would actually experience that transformation for ourselves. So I think they might do that. Either Haruaki may become a wolf, or Rokako may become a wolf next time. We just have to wait and see. But man, I'm gonna have to recover from this sequence of events. But yeah, that one last sort of thing I want to mention is that during the scene where Haruaki was explaining his idea, I just had this idea where, like, well, it's basically a scenario, a story where it's imagine we were Mamiya, right? I'm imagining a story where it's basically what Mamiya went through, where you're on a team or something, and I'm thinking like another VN where you're in another killing game or something, and basically you have a psychopath killer on your side, and it's like the psychopath killer is on your team and is benefiting you, but is also a psychomaniac, And it's like, how do you cope with that? How do you feel about that? Because on the one hand, you have a really powerful player, but on the other hand, yeah, it's just crazy. So, because you got that sort of sense, where Haruaki was like, yes, this is what we could do if we want to win, and it's obvious this is what we should do, and everyone is just looking at each other, freaking out a bit. It's just, that was such a good scene. That was so good, terrifying, but really good. I just, okay, I should stop rambling, and I'll finish up now. I've been the Warm. This has been Raging Loop, and I hope to see you next time. See ya.